Hello. I don't know if this is going to be official chat or
Yeah.
something else.
Oh my God, sorry. I'm sleepy. I'm really sleepy.
Is it going to be backstage informal or I don't know? Like it's weird. Every time now I have to ask you. But let's
No,
say this is a
I
formal
don't know.
but casual chat.
Maybe you can start from what you said to me. Like the practice became developing.
Yeah.
How was it that for you?
Um. Yeah. So it felt like, at least to me, well, maybe it was different for you because you were doing Hydra and you were making the composition and it was really nice. But for me, I was like writing and then coding a bit and writing, and then it became like, this is like development. It's not like practice. Um, there are so many interesting things happened. I think I mean, I don't know if it's something that I liked or not, and if I want to continue like this. But this kind of questioned the format, basically,
Yeah, yeah, I see.
because we had 2 hours, and at one point, I don't know what, like an hour and a half or something, like I was like really into writing and code changing the code, and then I noticed I lost you. I mean, you're
I
somewhere.
was, yeah, I went to get something.
And then I was
Complete,
like,
completely.
I kept doing a little bit, and then I decided to leave so that the computers are doing something.
Oh, but it was really nice. Something that you did today that you did not before was you were using two different cameras. At some point, you have your computer and two different cameras.
Like when I went outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really funny because, like, you mean the front and the back cameras?
Yeah, you have two different cameras
Yeah, yeah,
at the
yeah.
same time.
Yeah, I didn't expect that, but when I went outside, first I tried with the back camera to see, like with the phone, it's on the back side, not the selfie camera, to show what's around.
Yeah.
But then Live Lab, you can have multiple cameras, so I like might as well just do the selfie camera as well. So I have
Oh, so
both
you can do that.
on Live Lab, yes.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because normally you have to use, I mean, I use different iPhones, phones for that. Wow, that's super cool. Amazing.
So that was something new.
That's super cool.
But it was
For
really
real.
cold. I mean, it's really windy, so I just decided to come back. But
Yeah.
yeah, and it's the park just in the it's like a backyard, so I could catch Wi-Fi. But it would be nice to do it in the wild at some point. We never did
I
it,
mean,
right? I mean, you went
uh,
outside
yeah,
sometimes
I went
from
out there
pub.
sometimes, but this is the first time you were doing it, and that was nice. You know, that was very because it's completely different. It changes the atmosphere drastically. So if I'm looking at Live Lab, I have all the screens, and then somehow they have the same feeling. But then when you go outside, it's completely different.
True.
It's completely different. So it just demands that, you know, like if I'm looking, it just demands attention. I cannot avoid not to look at what are you doing.
I see.
It's really
Because
nice.
yeah, it's not something you used to.
No, also because I mean, it's just you go outside. There was some windy. At some point, your hair was moving like that. So
Yeah, that
there's
was really nice.
so many things that just because you are outside with the elements, that's already very complex in image. Let's say
Very
very
rich.
nice image. I think. Oh, pardon. I think the 2 hours they felt okay for me. I mean, less longer than the last time. Um,
I
I don't
see.
know how it was for you.
It was long. It was long.
2 hours is
Like,
long.
oh yeah, something I wanted to say. Like, so I wrote to you like it became like development, and to me, it was, and I think it felt like throughout the practice, it felt like I was developing, like more like constantly doing something and gradually build up something. But also, it really, because we agreed that it's not a development but it's a practice,
Mm-hmm.
it really demands to be somewhat performative. I don't know if that's the right word, because we say it's not a performance, but like a performative
Mm-hmm.
sense. Like sometimes, like towards the end, like we were playing with the like I was playing with half of the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
face,
yeah,
and we're like aligning them. So it's not like
yeah.
you just like suddenly smile and okay, this is something I'm doing, but we just don't talk, and we are doing this, and
Yeah.
that I felt really nice. It was
Mm.
yeah, I don't know if it was interesting as an image, but it was really nice to like nice experience.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like I think that's what I was trying. The place that eventually I would like to arrive or to is when I said when I was proposing to end together. It's basically towards trying to get in out of what we do. Like as the last time I think I was trying to explain, like in terms of dancing and just like this movie, this film, stop image and then continuing moving.
Mm.
That I give the example, like with David Zambrano, we were doing this and then just catching right away from when you left, like between being super serious or performative and drop it, being just normal and just keep on going. Um, and in that regard, I think something. So, for instance, at the beginning, we are more chatting, no? So we are more chatty. We laugh the first time. So, like we hear the sound. That was super weird. The sound with the low speed of the conversations. That was very funny, but I like it. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, especially because
And
it's our video,
yeah,
which
that's what
is
I thought.
really
That's what I
nice.
thought it
Yeah,
was nice because it's just about what we do.
yeah,
Yeah. So then, but it was just by chance. So I thought it was a nice element just by chance in the practice. And then wait, and then what? Um, chat sound in the background. Um, what I was I had, I forgot what I was about to say.
okay. Yeah, I mean, in and out, and
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So that at the beginning, in a way, like we are, but what I think is because we have this time frame. I think it's so important. Today I was very conscious of that while we were doing that. It just gives so much flexibility because then I know it's 2 hours. So then I know I can take 10 minutes if I just need it.
right.
Like I went to eat and then I met some people, and then after I realized, wow, I need to go back. I forgot it completely. I spent like 10 minutes outside
Yeah.
eating, but it's completely when I left it was half an hour, so I know anyway I will not be away the half an hour. So it just this element of the space of the time is so, yeah, I think this element of time in our case it actually proposes the space, which is very, maybe it makes sense, I don't know, like in a natural world, I don't know if it makes sense, but in the space that we are playing it makes sense because we propose time. So time, recording time, which is the space that we share, the performativity that we share. So that's basically the lifetime that or performance of the practice. That's the lifetime that your persona or my persona are alive in the practice for the session. It's a contract. So it's a binding contract that actually I was thinking today, just frees me to just be to give to not get actually stressed about I need to communicate with you, that we need to end. You know, that was the proposal that I had before was very, was very challenging. You know, like that's a very uh, in our case, I see the time is the space in our case. It defines defines the life that you that we have there, the life that we create.
Yeah, that's very interesting because because when we meet in person, we know that we're there, and that's something. It's not relative, but we know that absolute spot is there, and we're there. But if it's online, it's hard to have that sense because anytime I can leave. So we need some kind of reference, which is time, because time flows. Well, maybe there is a fraction of second of like error between different places, but still, like, we know that it flows almost the same for both of us, and that's why we, yeah, it's just like sensing the space, we sense the time, and we share that. It's yeah, like we only have 30 minutes, 10 minutes that we both sense, even though we're not physically there,
Right. Uh,
which is really interesting.
yeah, I was
Because
thinking that like it seems to me clear. It makes sense that time in the practice is the space. It is the living space that we have, because when the time is gone, then we are gone in that space. We still exist here, and we will exist in the recording in the future when we upload it, and then it just becomes part of the network, and it's redistribute in the network for that person that wants to watch it. So we kind of multiply ourselves in different places, and then we don't have control over that. So that's part of like we just put it out, right? But before that, while we are in like our life, like in a real life, then it's a bit weird, because if I'm thinking, for instance, it's like, so the time in that space is like it will take the same time in our lives. You know, it's like it's 2 hours, 2 hours, and the practice is 2 hours in my life, right? But the difference is that knowing that while practicing I have 2 hours to end my life. You know, in 2 hours I will end my life, my session life, your session life. In 2 hours I will be gone. In that sense, will be will be death in a way. Like all the elements, all the agency of these things that we are creating, all the imaginary, all these things that takes time until they boil up, they will be gone for forever. They will just they will become alive again in the YouTube channel as a different source. But it's not the in a way how I see it is like there is this, we go together, like life, real life, and the life in the practice, and we are together moving because the time it goes like this, like normal, yeah. But at some point, this life dies from the practice, and yeah, I don't know what I wanted to say.
yeah, well, to me, I was thinking more like, I was just thinking about, because you said life, I was thinking about like Super Mario, because that's, oh, are you still there, or do I have to do the monologue again? Okay, you're back, I think, or not. I mean, this is the weird thing about time, that it flows the same, but we don't necessarily share the same time in a way because of the network. Okay, going back to what I want to say, I thought like a Super Mario because we know that this life will end, but then after 1 week we do it again with it's a same amount of life, but it's a different life.
There is something interesting in this idea of the death, because it just comes from this part of this text about Hegel and Judith Butler. And if I'm not wrong, basically you have this, it wasn't this analogy of the master slave, and then the slave doesn't know life. It has no independent life. It just the life of the slave is through the eyes of the master. The slave doesn't know life. He just, somebody who is born a slave thinks that master is life. A slave cannot decide by themselves. Through the master, they become alive, basically. They don't have will. And then the master, or the bondage, I think he calls him the bondage. You say the master because I don't want to mix the names. So say the master. The master has no freedom because, although it sounds weird, but because, no, wait. Oh, let me try to put it short and just conclude what I'm trying to say is that through dying, in the text, what they're saying is through dying is that actually life becomes possible in the text, in the sense of the master cannot leave, although the master is the one who is ordering what to do. His task as master, it limits his life in a way. From that, in that perspective, the text says in a way that it has no life, it's not alive, because it cannot chooses. It chooses based on limitation, basically. While for the slave is free because he doesn't have to choose. He has no option. So in that sense, the slave is free, and the master the master in a way is enslaved, because the master has no freedom. He needs to choose always, and because of that, he cannot be totally free, and therefore he cannot be alive. And then when they said the slave, therefore, when the slave at some point he will die, and he will die in a way on the name of the master. So he will die when he died. Actually, he becomes alive. And why? What is the logic of why he becomes alive? There is something there that is in my subconscious, like in that regard. That's what I was mentioning. There is death. It comes from that text, because it's clear in the text that when the slave died, he's free. He's free. Actually, no, he's free. No, when his slave died, he's alive. He's fully alive. That's what they said. And then actually, then Butler is trying to put that analogy in terms of, the text is called "Be My Body for Me," and is this from this idea that my body is my slave. He has no choice that just surrender to my self-awareness, and then I just tell my body, do the things that I need to do. My body is just, and from that perspective, the text says that Butler make the analogy between the body, who is a slave of what I think is Jorge, the image of what I think. And then in that exercise, then they go different iterations trying to say, like, that you proposing this idea of self-dissociation of the self. Like one example is that if I start, like right now, I'm somewhat Jorge, understanding that you are there and recognizing that it's me. But if I try to do like close my eyes and try to just really feel my belly, I have to do an exercise of dissociation and imagination in which I'm becoming somehow, I'm separating from Jorge and I'm start feeling my belly. And like these are different exercises that they propose. What I think is relevant from there is that because I think we do that. I That's what the in the direction in a way who I'm thinking lately in our exercise when I talk about the elements, it's in this idea of like self dissociation of like the elements become somewhat me, but it's not my fully consciousness of Jorge. It's just Jorge who becomes now a glitch or the cursor or you in different layers. And anyway, maybe it's confused, but in a way I think it's interesting is this idea of bringing life and death in our practice, because it seems to me clear that this thing that we do becomes alive and died when we agree beforehand.
So this life and death, I just yeah, I think I need more understanding to comment on it, but I just want to pick up what you said about the glitches. I think it's really interesting that you said it, and in the text I was writing, like not the the practice writing, but in the development writing, the proposal thing I was writing, I just made up like something about pixel space or something so that I avoid saying it's a video effect. I'm still not 100% happy with the name, but it makes sense. I mean, I just wrote it because in a sense that bodies become part of the data and the video.
Yeah.
But I think what you said really adds something to it, because in a way we are equal. Like there's no there's no hierarchy in the pixels.
True.
So whatever images, whatever recordings, your video feed, my video feed, doesn't really matter. It's just RGB and alpha pixels, and that's really cool.
Yeah. I didn't thought about it like this. There is not really. I mean, we can go in that direction sometimes, I guess, from time to time or in purpose. But if in the pure exercise of just doing the practice, the political body, it doesn't exist, because you are just glitch. I mean, like you are not Japanese there,
Right.
and that's very interesting. So like there is yeah, that's I never thought like that, but it's really true.
Yeah, it's really I don't know how to say, but it's really funny. Funny in a way.
Very liberating. It's very liberating, actually, if you really think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
We
funny
never
because
really
it's not something that we intended to do.
know,
And I think if we intend to do so, to liberate ourselves by using pixels, probably we will fail.
because it becomes, because yeah, then it just, as you said, it's because by chance it happened, is liberating. But I guess if the quest was towards aiming to free the body through the practice, then it just becomes charged already.
Yeah, it's already having a strong connection to it. So you
No,
won't perceive as pixels, but you perceive as your body or each other's body.
and I also think because, for instance, like although these things that we talk are, somewhat interesting, when I mentioned some things like then the death, and then you mentioned like you bring this into the conversation, and then from time to time we have interesting topics. At the end, actually, all that we talk actually is fluid. We are not trying to arrive or just trying to write a book about the best practices.
Or maybe we can write a book, but it's not
Yeah.
like the book is not the end.
No, no, and that's why I think it will not have work anyway. We will in just following the nature of the process. It wouldn't work. I mean, it's not. Although it's, for instance, if you see many of these topics, they come often, like this political body, and other more. They come very often when we talk, or in the chat, or in backstage. We talk constantly of these things. So they reflect actually where are we as humans, as individuals.
Yeah, it's not something. Yeah, it's mean constantly changing, and it's, how do I say, yeah, I mean, it's just like, we're just flowing somehow, and we find something interesting. We might forget about what we've been talking in January, but that's also okay. And we can always go back, and we can criticize or whatever, but it doesn't matter what. I mean, the nice thing is, like, we don't reflect too much on the chat.
Because, but if we do that, that's weird, because at some point I felt like, I mean, I'm sure we have interesting things, and it's nice from time to time, as you do, and as I do sometimes, just almost randomly, like clicking one of the chats, and then you go back and then you laugh, because it's so the difference that exists between watching ourselves in the practice and watching ourselves in the chat in the past, because we cannot do it in the future yet, is that is actually just what you said, because there is no political. When you watch the 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 practice itself, it's just more a negotiation between your ego, in terms of how good it is, in terms of you as an artist, like seeing, like, does it work now, like in different levels. So it's more desire, failure, and just all this conversation in your head with yourself, like, does it work, does it not work? But um you're not really, I mean, there's not too much, just when I watch, I just jump fast to see things, I don't stop that much, or if I stop, it's because there is an aesthetic, actually, something there for me to watch often. But on the other hand, when we jump, like, from time to time just to chats, there is always something there is catching, you know, like, and that sometimes is funny, because then just we mention somebody or for whatever reason, and that's because those actually are ourselves. Like, the ones in the practice is not the self that I'm talking right now. It's not the Naoto that I'm talking right now. The one in the practice is every single time a different one. I mean, here also you are different, but there is just so, because of the multidimensionality that we propose, it's just so exposed to the infinite, right? Here, I mean, here you're not the same that 10 minutes ago, but in the other one, the dimensions are so just fluctuating constantly.
True. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm just like so happy that we discovered something. Yeah, and a bit sleepy, so I wasn't sure, like, what else I can talk. Like, I feel like now, like, it's good. Like, this chat was good.
Maybe maybe something that I wanted to say is, like, because it's in regards of this, like, uh, for those who are following the chat, there's more the people. For instance, there's the double of people who watch the chat than the practices. That's a fact. So for those who watch the chat, and this one, it seems very, in a way, conceptual, or my dare to say, like, academic, in the sense, like, like very more theoretical, let's say. And we were like very yes, interesting. Like if you
Yes,
compare
the
the previous,
reference.
I guess is was not that much. But so what I was trying to say is like in the developing time. So we proposed today to do this developing time of 2 hours, and then we said that we're gonna work with text because Naoto was writing an application, and then uh, how what I don't remember.
Development was
Yeah,
writing, and practice also was
yeah,
writing.
but I think I don't know. What I was trying to say somehow is that we talk a lot today. I know. I think it was before development. We used maybe like 1 hour just to talk. We were not actually just the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes. We said, by the way, what are we gonna do tonight today? But we spent like 1 hour just chit chatting
Was it like you mean the morning?
in the morning.
Could be. I
Just the
always
last,
always
just the
forget.
last 5 minutes, 10 minutes. We said, okay, but just how are we gonna work? But the beginning was just like I was so sleepy. You were so sleepy. Both we were like, yeah. To be honest, I don't know. I cannot think right now. Let's see. And I just honesty, which I think is
I don't want development today. That's what I
exact.
said.
Yeah, yeah. And so I mentioned that because actually it's in regards to you remember when we have this chat some week ago or something like very in a personal level. So backstage, they end up being backstage.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
the late one.
Delayed one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I see it in the same way because today when we were talking at some point, I reflect myself like thinking we should talk about work. But then I kind of like catch myself in the discourse and then I thought, actually this is important. This is what we do right now, is the practice. This is actually what it bounds, the trust between you and me. That just actually we can just talk and do what we need to do and that was nice. So I'm saying that just to in regards to like we talk all of these, but these things are possible because we trust in it. We build this trust in whatever happens, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking like when we were meeting in person in Frankfurt, that was really felt so, how to say, not vulnerable, unstable, I don't know, disorienting, whatever, because we were not recording our conversations because we were talking in real life.
True.
And it's nice, but it's also sad. Like I wish I can go back to the Chinese garden and listen to what we were talking, which is a bit funny, I mean, a bit creepy, but
Just put hiding microphones in the Chinese garden in Frankfurt.
yeah, because there must be something interesting there.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Interesting. It's just nice. Um, Maybe I will go through the text again. I mean, I'm not gonna read that because I read this text about Butler like in 4 days with somebody. Like, so it's something that I think it's heavy. It's already it's Butler, so I'm talking about Hegel. So it makes it softer because she tried to bring the Hegler's philosophies of the spirit, phenomenology of the spirit into the body, but it's just a lot of talking. So if I might find like a chapter, like a just like some alinea that I would like to share with you, then I just send it because it's in regards to this death, life and death of the like the death give real life. That's the idea. I don't know exactly how to explain that, but is the idea is that when the slave dies, he actually leave fully. It's only at that moment. No. Wait. It's when he realized that he can die. He start living. Yes, it's that. But I don't know how can I explain that. I will find it something and then I can share that.
Yeah.
because we
Please.
are dying now. So I never thought like that. Like all personas die in the practice.
Mm.
We have a finite life that is agreed before,
Yeah.
and
You
that's
know
very
what?
nice.
Today, like, I told you about, saving the Hydra in the URL, and, so that you can go back. And I didn't do that because I was doing like screen share and camera stuff. So I didn't want to evaluate all. So I just kept like writing, and like 2 minutes to the end, like I accidentally
I saw it.
erased it, and I was like, oh fuck! I told you about this, and I did it by myself, and then I was
I
like,
saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
yeah, I was
Because
just
I saw
doing
it
whatever.
from becoming white. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I just did like, okay, whatever. I just improvised, and like I was trying to pixelate half of myself, and I totally failed. But that was nice. It's also like,
Ah,
I
that's
don't
what you
know.
were doing, because I didn't get what are you trying to do when you have when I saw there was pixelate function, but I thought, what are you doing? I didn't get what we were
I
trying to do, because there were like literally 2 minutes or 1 minute left.
Yeah, yeah. So I was just like, like running and running and running. I mean, coding and coding, and try to get something that I thought about, and then I didn't have time. But that's also like, it reminds me of that life, like life and death, because I only
Yeah.
have 2 minutes. Like I cannot say, can we have another extra 5 minutes?
Can I leave? Can I leave 5 minutes more? This is wonderful. I really like this. I really like that to close then the chat here. I really like this thing. It's very nice. This
Yeah.
idea. Like, I'm happy to die every time that we meet.
Yeah. And in a way, like the next time, like you don't remember how it was for the last 5 minutes in the last session. In a way, it's like
True.
you're newborn somehow. That's the actually funny thing, because if we do like same thing over and over, like we must like remember how it was last time, but like we just like stupidly spend like first half an hour just doing whatever, and like notice that we only have half an hour, and like it just always happen. It's like a like
Wow.
a kids
It's true.
show that like the villains are like always
I lost
stupid.
you. You're
Oh,
dead.
yeah, like I hear you, but
I lost you. You were
okay,
dead for a second. You
okay,
were
yeah, you're
temporarily
frozen
dead.
too. I don't know which connection, but it's okay. So I
Yeah.
just repeat, and then we can
Okay.
close. But
So maybe just, but wait, you were saying something about the newborn that I would
yeah,
like to just, can you repeat that last part?
I don't know. It's just, well, like in the recording, it's there probably, but it's like in the
Ah,
kids.
okay. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, okay,
Because the
then it's fine.
recording is
I
there.
I, I don't
That's
I don't do repeat it then. I don't know if I finished it, but whatever. That's not so important. So okay, so thank you for
keep in
watching.
touch. Just we close it and then yeah. So yeah. So we
Yeah.
leave. Bye bye. Please subscribe, like it
Yes,
very
thank you.
much.